Hello students, this is Aisha, your English educator. Here is an exercise related to relative clauses at page number 118. So first of all, I want to tell you something about relative clauses, like what are relative clauses, how many types of relative clauses are there, and some examples related to relative clauses. First of all, I want to tell you the definition of relative clauses. So, what is a relative clause? A relative clause is a subordinate clause which specifies or gives information about a person or thing. It is connected to its main clause by a relative pronoun or a relative adverb. So, the relative pronouns in English are who, whom, whose, which, and that. And the relative adverbs are when and where. So, relative pronouns like who, whom, whose, which, that. We can use these relative pronouns for the people and the things. So, who, the first relative pronoun is who, and who we can refer this relative pronoun to people. And next relative pronoun is whom, and we can use this relative pronoun for the people. And next relative pronoun is whose, and we can use this relative pronouns for people and things both. And next relative pronoun is which, and which we can use this relative pronoun only for the things. And next relative pronoun is that, and that we can use this type of relative pronoun for things. And next is relative adverbs where and when. Where we can refer this relative adverb to the place, and when we can refer this relative adverb to the time. And now let's see how many types of relative clauses are there. There are only two types of relative clauses. First is restrictive relative clause, and second is non-restrictive relative clause. So restrictive relative clause is also called defining relative clause, and non-restrictive relative clause is also called non-defining relative clause. So what is a restrictive clause? A restrictive clause gives essential information about a noun or noun phrase that comes before it. Just like we can take an example for a restrictive clause. Natasha made the doctor who had already treated her earlier. So which doctor? Natasha made the doctor who had treated her earlier. Which doctor? Who had treated her earlier. So we are using here related pronoun who for the doctor, and doctor is the type of people, so we can use here who for the doctor. And we can take another example for related pronoun. She took the medicine that was prescribed by the doctor last week. Which medicine? That was prescribed by the doctor last week. So we are using here that for the thing, and medicine is a type of thing, so we will use here that for the medicine, for the thing. So what is a non-restrictive clause? A non-restrictive clause gives extra information that could be left out without affecting the meaning of the sentence. A non-restrictive clause is normally introduced by who, whom, which, or whose. Non-restrictive relative clause always have a comma before them. They will have a comma after them if they are followed by other parts of the same sentence. Just like you can take an example for this. Dr. David Paul, whose hospital is in the old city, comes to this clinic thrice a week. So, thrice a week. So, we can take here two commas. Dr. David Paul, comma, whose hospital is in the old city. It is extra information about Dr. David Paul. So we will using here two commas, and there is second comma after whose hospital is in the old city, and then comes to this clinic thrice a week. So we can call it a non-restrictive clause, and it is also called as non-defining relative clause. So let's move to the exercise. Here is an exercise related to the relative clauses. Read this passage, fill in the blanks with who, whose, which, that. One has been done as an example. So we have to use here these type of relative clauses, and we can use, I have already told you, who for the people, whose for the people, and thing also, which for the things only, and that for the thing only. And when and where, we can use where for the place and when for the time. So let's start now. People. People is a type of, living thing. So we will using here who. People who care for the environment have to think seriously about the tragedy of light pollution. Light and night is a dangerous cocktail in the natural world, artificial night light, and we are using here which, and which is a type of relative pronoun which we can use only for the things, and night light is a type of thing, so we are using here which, relative pronoun which can baffle even the most seasoned of creatures, plays havoc in the lives of those creatures. Survival depends on natural light. So we are using here whose, and whose is a type of relative pronoun which we can use only for the people, not for the things. So we are using here, we can use this type of relative pronoun for people and things both. And we are using here whose for creatures. Survival depends on natural lights. Take for example its effect on the turtles. So we are using here a relative pronoun who, and we are using this relative pronoun for turtle, and we can use who for turtle. Nestle along the coast. Nesting turtle as well as hatchings. Now here is, we can use here who for the hatchings and nesting turtles. So have just come out of the shells and attracted to light. But often the intensity of artificial light. Now we are using which. We are using relative pronoun which here, and which we are using this type of relative pronoun for artificial light, and artificial light is a type of thing, so we can use here which for the things. Floods. The port or resort area makes the female turtles vary and they get confused. The case of the hatchings, and hatchings is also a living thing, so we will using here, we can use here who, and we are using this who, this type of relative pronoun for hatchings, and we can use who for the hatchings. See the world for the first time is worse. Their survival is crucial at this stage. So we can use which for the things, and we are using here which, this type of relative pronoun which we are using here their survival, and survival is a type of thing, so we will use here which is crucial at this stage depends on. We can also use there that, and that is also stands refer to the things is crucial at this stage depends on their reaching the sea as soon as possible. In the starlight water appears lighter than land attracts them, and the hatchings head straight for the sea. So we are using here relative pronoun that, and that we can use this type of relative pronoun only for the things, and water is a type of thing, so we are using here that for water. And next is for the sea is their life saves, for the sea, and we are using here relative pronoun which, and which we can use for the things, and for the sea is a type of thing, so we are using here which is their lifesaver. But in the present age of light pollution has invaded our lives, the dazzling lights of ports and resorts attract the turtles, and so we are using here another type of relative pronoun which, and which we can use for things, and pollution is a type of thing, So we are using here which. And next is they had inland is their death trap. We are using here another relative pronoun that, and that can be used only for the things, and inland is had inland is a type of thing, so we are using here that for had inland. Is there death trap with disastrous consequences for the species? Environmentalists who are trying to save the endangered species are worried about turtles. So we are using here who, and who is, we are using who for the environmentalists, and these are the type of people. So we are using this relative pronoun for the people, and we can use this type of relative pronoun only for the people, so we are using this for them. Thank you, class. We will continue by the next morning, by the next day. Till then, stay safe.